Hello and welcome to this week's YouTube tutorial. Today I'll be sharing how to use canvases in your Showit website app. We'll look at regular canvases, site canvases, and canvas views and how to edit them, add them, and the best practices for them. A canvas is Showit's simple term for an area on a page of your site. I'm going to share my screen now and we're going to first look at regular canvases. Like I said, a canvas is Showit's simple term for an area on your website. So basically, if you want to view a canvas, see how I'm hovering over here? This is one canvas, this is one canvas, and you can tell it's a canvas because that area is being highlighted by this little blue box here. And there's a little blue rectangle that comes up in the middle with the title of this canvas. So that's how you can tell what a canvas is as I scroll down this page, and you can see them on both mobile and desktop. If you want to view a certain canvas, all you have to do is hover over it, click on the little blue rectangle, and then you will be taken into it. If you want to look at the different layers that are in the canvas, you go over here on the left. There are two tabs, Site and Page. You want to click the Page tab, and now you'll be able to view the home page and all the different canvases on the home page. Each of these horizontal bars here is a canvas, and you can see that they're each named. So that testimonial canvas, if I click on it, it should pop open over here on the left. You can see that this is the testimonial canvas and there are different layers in here. So layers can include text layers, embed layers, photo layers, shape layers. All of these little areas in here are different layers, if you will. You can easily rename a canvas. By default, it'll come up as blank. So if you click on a canvas and over here you click these three dots on the right, you'll see that there's lots of different things you can do. You can rename it, simply change the name. You can add a canvas view, which we'll talk about. You can duplicate it. If you duplicate it, it'll pop up beneath with the same name, -1. I'm just gonna delete it. You can delete it. So I'm gonna click those three dots again. You can copy it. You can cut it. You can check whether or not you want it to be displayed on desktop or mobile. So if I select visible on desktop, you'll see that that as seen in canvas went away and now it's back because I checked the box. You can look at the layout for the mobile of how it'll look. You can convert it to a site canvas, which we'll talk about, and you can delete it. If you want to move a canvas, it's really simple. You literally just click it with your mouse and drag it, and you'll see there's like a little line that comes up indicating where you want it to go. And sometimes it takes a little practice because sometimes it doesn't go where you want it to go and you just have to do it again. So that's how you would move the canvas. By default, when you add a new one, it'll show on the bottom. If you do want to add a new one, you need to click the page name at the top here, and you'll notice that the page has three little dots. So here you can add a new canvas. If you add a new canvas, you can choose a canvas either from the site that you're currently working on, or there's some other tabs here. You can look at the Showit library. So this will have all the free sites in it. So you can actually grab a canvas from another site, whether or not it's yours. So these are all free Showit sites that are underneath the Showit library. So you could grab any of these and add them. And the cool thing is you can apply your font and color. So let's say I want to add this Instagram area here from the Clarissa site. I can say I want to add this, and import options down here. I want to apply my fonts and colors. So Showit will take the fonts and colors of the current site that you're working on and apply it to this canvas. So I'm going to say apply, and now it's previewing it. You might not notice it, but these fonts changed. And then I'm going to say add. And now you'll see that that Instagram canvas from that Clarissa site template is down here. And I'm actually going to delete it because I don't need it. But that's another way that you can piece a site together. It's just by taking some canvases from free sites and putting them together to create one page. So I'm going to hit these three dots to delete that. You can add a blank canvas. So now I'm going to go back to the page properties at the top, click these three dots. So we just added a new canvas. You hit add new canvas to be able to add a canvas from another site, whether it's your site or one of the free ones from the Showit library. I do this a lot for contact forms actually when I'm making my templates. So if there's any designers out there, instead of reinventing the wheel and creating a new contact form every time, just go steal one from one of your old templates. That's what I do. Okay, so that's how you add a new canvas, but adding a blank canvas will create a new canvas at the bottom of all the canvases for this page. So you'll see here it popped up. And then you can hit the 3 dots to rename it, and then you can drag it around to move it wherever you want to move it. But I'm going to select it and hit the 3 dots to delete it because I do not need it. Let's look at the properties of canvases. So I'm going to select this top above the fold canvas here. I have it labeled What You Do. This is my Adele Ready to Launch template, by the way. So I'm going to select this. Over here on the right, you'll see all the properties for the canvas that you have selected. And to select a canvas, you have to actually make sure that you have the canvas selected with this blue text. You'll see it'll turn blue here. So make sure that's selected. So let's look. This is the name. This is the name of it. You can name whatever you want. Stacking order means, is it going to stack above or below other canvases? So for example, you usually want your header to have a higher stacking order than the rest of your site canvases. If I were to make this stacking order of this header here, like 0, and this one's 1, then I'll show you what happens. Then this canvas is going to scroll above the header. See how it's scrolling above it? It's going above it like that. And I don't want to do that. I want this canvas to scroll under this header. So that's why it's really important that your header at the top of the page for stacking order is set to something like 3 or 5, just so you know that it's higher. So I'm going to publish it again. And now when I go to reload the page, this canvas here should scroll under our header canvas, and it does. Usually people like to have their canvas header, stuck to the top so that it can scroll underneath. So that's what stacking order is. So now I'm going to select this canvas here again. I'm going to go to the right under properties. So we talked about name and stacking order. Now let's look at the type. So you'll see here that there's a mobile and desktop tabs. So there are a few different types of canvases. There's normal, there's window height, and grow with content. So normal means you're just setting it at whatever height you want, and that's that. Window height means I have this set at 550. That's its minimum height. So if I publish this, it is going to fill the entire browser window, or it should. See how it got bigger? The exception is this header is here. It's sticky to the top. But I'm setting this to be big. Okay, so I'm going to, let's see if usually you want to set this minimum height. Like by default, it'll have it there at like 650 is the typical standard browser. So that's what I would set it at. And then the third type is grow with content. So this is something that you see on the blog, because obviously your blog content grows depending on how much text you write, but also with galleries. If you have like a tiled gallery, you want to set that canvas to grow with content, because a tiled gallery, the number of images are going to change. So the height of the canvas is going to depend on how many images you have there. So I'm going to set this to normal, and then I'm going to select the canvas properties again. Initial height is just how big it is from top to bottom. You can see if I make it 1500, whoa, see how much bigger it gets. I'm going to undo that and put it back at 550, which is where I had it. Sticky. So sticky means that if I have it set to sticky top, this canvas will stick to the top. So that's what we have the header set to right now. So if I go back to this tab, right now I have this header canvas is set sticky top on scroll, I believe. So top on scroll versus top. So top means, here, I'm going to show you the difference. Let's turn this one none. So right now the header right here, we have top on scroll. But if so notice top on scroll means when I start to scroll, it's going to stay stuck to the top there. If I change it to top, let's look at the difference. I'm going to publish it so I can preview it. Got to reload the page. That usually means that it's going to be stuck there without scrolling. It's a very subtle difference, but I usually always choose top on scroll. So it's the opposite with bottom and bottom on scroll. So if I have this set to sticky bottom, this header up here, if I publish it, regardless of where it appears in the Showit app, it should stick to the bottom. So there it is. It's sticking to the bottom. Now, if you change this header canvas here to be sticky bottom on scroll, let me show you what it does. So now if you scroll it, it actually doesn't stick to the bottom. And this is important because you need to make sure that if you're going to choose bottom on scroll, that this canvas actually needs to be near the bottom for it to do that. So now if I publish it, it should be stuck to the bottom. So now when it bottom scrolls, it'll be down there. So top on scroll, you need to make sure that the canvas is like at the top itself, and bottom on scroll, make sure the canvas is actually in the bottom of your site page here. That's important. So offset will only appear if you have a canvas set to a sticky option. Okay, so let's say I have it on top on scroll right now. Let's say I'm going to offset it by 200 pixels, and let's see what happens to this header. I'm going to publish it, go to the page, reload it, and now you see that this header is offset by 200 pixels. So it's moving it down 200 pixels. That's what offset means. Sometimes you have to do that if you have something up here that you want to showcase or whatever, but just to know that you have that option. So I'm going to remove that. So scroll links under. So we're going to click that and show you what that means. Typically that means that it will scroll canvases underneath it. But if you have this canvas set with the appropriate stacking order, that shouldn't be a problem. So I'm going to uncheck that. Hidden to start means if you select it, it's not going to show up. So you'll notice that if I publish this, that top header is not going to show up. Usually you want to select that for like things like canvases. When you have buttons in your canvas, you click your button and then you have to add an action to show the canvas so it like reappears. But that's what hidden to start means. It literally will not be hidden unless you set an action and a button to show it. The next thing under properties is canvas background. So you can actually change what the full width background of a canvas will look like. So if you go to the right over here under canvas background, you'll see that there's a mobile tab and a desktop tab. So there's several different types. You can choose a color, you can choose an image, or you can choose a video. I do have a tutorial all about using video in Showit, so you'll want to check that out for how to do that. Right now I have it set for an image. Underneath the image, you'll notice that there are lots of different properties as well. So right now I have the size set to fill. So that means that this image will fill up the entire canvas. If I change that drop down to contain, it will keep the entire image contained in this canvas. So the aspect ratio of the image stays the same. If I set the size to don't scale, it won't scale it. It will just keep this image at whatever pixel size it is. And then if, it runs out on the canvas, depending on your browser size, so let's go look at that. You can see that the image is here. It doesn't fill up this entire canvas because it's not going to get bigger. It's not going to be responsive, if you will. So the best option is always fill, and that's what it is by default. You can set the position where you want the photo to start. For scroll actions, you can choose scroll with page, parallax, or fixed. So scroll with page means that it will just simply scroll with the page. You will see the same part of the image no matter what. If you go to parallax, that's usually what I do for fancy things. Parallax will change the position of the image in that space. So now if I reload it and I scroll down some, you'll see that that image background is moving. Keep in mind that when selecting a background for your canvas, you have to manually select it for both desktop and mobile. So for example, you'll see that if I change this desktop canvas background image, notice that it updated on the desktop, but on the mobile, it did not update. So you manually have to change the canvas background for both mobile and desktop. So I'm just going to undo that. You can also set the opacity for your image. So right now I have my background image set at 40%. And then if you have it set at a low opacity, there's obviously going to be a color behind it. So right now I have the canvas background set to be black. But if I changed it to white, you can see this image is set at 40% opacity. Notice it didn't change on mobile. And now it has a white background. So that's harder to read. So I'm going to keep it black. So usually for Canvas background properties, you always have to manually change things for both mobile and desktop, just so you know. So those are all the basic properties of a canvas. Animation, view transitions, and scroll actions are really not used as much, so I'm not going to delve into those right now. Now let's look at site canvases. So if you go on the left over here to your site tab, you'll be able to see an area called site canvases. So I'm going to click this header here, okay? A site canvas is an area that appears on multiple pages of your site. If you edit it once, it will edit across all those pages wherever you have it. So it's very important to know that if you change something, it's going to update across the board wherever you have this area. By default, most Showit templates will have site canvases, and you can click through them over here on the left by looking at them. And they tend to be like your footer, your header, your mobile menu, because those are all of the areas on your site that you want to appear over and over. And if you update something, you don't want to have to do it on every single page. So to edit it, you simply just click any of these canvases under Site Canvas and edit it. Let's say I want to change this to information or whatever, change the link. You can easily do that. You can create a site canvas by simply hitting this plus site. And if you say add blank, a new one will pop up down here. I'm going to delete that. Or if you click that little plus symbol next to site canvases, select new site canvas, you can go in again to any other site that you have or that's free in the Showit library, and you can add it as a site canvas. So you can either add, I have the Clarissa site template selected right now, and there are 5 different site canvases in the Clarissa template. So I can either select one of those to add, or you can even look at the individual canvases within a page of a Showit template. So right now I have the home page selected of the Clarissa template, and look, there are lots of different things in here. So I could say, hey, you know what? I don't like the header that is in my site. I like this header better. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to say apply my fonts and colors down here under import options and add it. And now you'll see there's a second header there. It says -1 because I already had one named header. So now this is a site canvas that I can add to multiple pages if I want. But I'm going to delete it for now. You can also create a site canvas another way. So let's say you have the home page selected. Let's go to the page tab. Let's say I'm going to click this as seen in canvas here. Okay, these are my badges. I want to put this on a few different areas of my site. And if I want to add more badges later, I don't want to have to do it to every page. So I want to make it a site canvas. So right now it's a regular canvas. You can distinguish between site canvases and regular canvases over here on the left. See these horizontal bars? The bars that have the diagonal lines, the gray diagonal lines, those are site canvases. And the bars that have no lines are regular canvases. So I'm going to select that as seen in regular canvas. I'm going to select the 3 little dots right there, and I'm going to say convert to site canvas. Now you'll see that there are diagonal lines here. If you hover over it, there are diagonal lines on both desktop and mobile. So you know that it's a site canvas, so that if you update it once, it's going to update across the board. Now notice this is a site canvas here, but if I had this canvas somewhere else on the site, like for example, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to convert this. You can also change this. So if you want this to be a regular canvas, you can select those 3 dots and say convert to page canvas. So this comes in handy. For example, let's say that you want this canvas on one area of a site, but you want it to be a little bit different on this page, but you want it to be the same on the rest of the pages. Then you can just make this canvas a regular canvas on just this page only by hitting those 3 dots and saying convert. So this is how I originally had it set up, the as seen in canvas. It was a regular template. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, and just for the sake of argument, I'm going to go paste it onto my about page because I want to show you how to something. Okay, so now I have the as seen in canvas on my about page as well as my home page. Okay, but I'm going to convert it to a site canvas. So I'm going to select the as seen in canvas. I'm going to select those 3 dots. I'm going to say convert to site canvas. Okay, so now whenever I update this, if I have this as a site canvas on other pages, it will update. But if we go back to our about page, you will see that this is still a regular canvas. That's because it started as a regular canvas. So if I want to make this a site canvas, if I do this now, make it a site canvas, it's going to make it as a different site canvas. So for example, I'm going to go back to the site tab. We're going to scroll down to these site canvases. Look, as seen in 1, as seen in 2. So I want to make sure that I'm not creating multiple site canvases of the same thing. So if I'm on the home page again, I had this regular canvas here. I made it a site canvas. You're going to want to just copy and paste that wherever you want it. You don't want to convert all the individual regular canvases into site canvases because then you'll end up with multiple ones, if that makes sense. Now let's talk about canvas views. A canvas view is a folder that appears within a canvas. So if I go to my page tab, I'm going to select this testimonial canvas here, and I'm going to add a canvas view. To do that, I select the canvas over here on the left, click the three dots, and say Add Canvas View. And you notice a folder there pops up. You can rename it by clicking the three dots to say rename. So I'm going to say Review 01. Okay. Using canvas views is a great way to use something as steps. So let's say you have a process and you want people to be able to click a button to scroll through next, next, next. So each of those next would go in a separate review folder. So you could do this for reviews, you could do it for a process, you could do it for frequently asked questions, any area of your site that you want people to be able to click through and get the next step or the next thing, if you will. So right now what I want to do is create 5 different reviews, okay, that people can click through. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I have this as one review right now. I have a text layer for the review itself. I have the name of the person. I have a quotation and a line. Okay, so I'm going to take all 4 of these things. I'm going to select the 4 layers by just dragging my mouse. You'll see they're all selected. Over here on the right or left, you can see they're all selected here because they're blue. I'm going to drag those to that review folder. And those were just dummy layers I selected and deleted. So now if I click this folder, you'll see that it disappears when I deselect it and reappears when I select it, okay? So that's my one review. Let's say I want to add another review. What I'm going to do is just duplicate this canvas view folder. And to do that, I select it, click those right dots, hit duplicate, and it'll pop up underneath as folder 2. I'm going to select the 3 dots to rename it. And now I'm going to rename it as review 2. Oops. And now to change it, I'm just going to double select the text. This is my new text here. Blah, blah, this is text. Okay. So this is a shorter review. So I'm going to change the text box to be a little smaller. I'm going to move the name and the line. I'm going to select them and move them up so that there's not so much space there. And now when I toggle between folder 1 and folder 2, you can see that I have different content for each one. So now, you know what? I have another long review for number 3. So instead of duplicating folder 2, I'm going to duplicate folder 1 actually. So I'm going to select folder 1. I'm going to hit duplicate. And it popped up now as folder 2 actually. So I'm just going to drag this folder beneath folder 2. And now I have folder 1 was my original one, folder 2 was the shorter one, and folder 3 now is that duplicated first folder. And I'm going to hit the 3 dots to rename it to review 3. So you can move the folder, you can drag the order of them just simply by moving the folders around. So you can change your text there, and you would just keep duplicating and dragging the folders around and the layers in it to create your new reviews. So I'm going to duplicate review 2, duplicate. I'm going to drag folder 3 now beneath folder 4. This is the duplicated folder, so I'm going to rename it to folder 4. And I'm going to duplicate another one. And I'm going to rename it to folder 5. All right, so now I have 5 reviews, and this is dummy text, so I'm just gonna, now I gotta move my line, and I'm gonna select my line and my client name here on the left actually, because I don't want to interfere with this text box, so I'm gonna select it down. So now if I toggle through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's all my 5 reviews, but I have no way of getting from one to the next, so I need to add some kind of a button. All right. So I'm going to add just a text layer. So I'm going to add, I'm going to go to the bottom here, say text. We're going to do a subheading. All right. Now you'll notice that as I added that popped up in folder 1. So now if I go to folder 2, my button disappears. So you want to make sure that your buttons for getting to one canvas view to the next is not in a folder. So I'm going to actually over here on the left, I'm going to rename this first of all. We're going to call it next. This is our next button to get to the next review. I'm going to move over here on the left, move this text layer next, which is my button to get to the next folder, out into the main area of the canvas. So I'm just literally going to move it to this testimonial canvas here. Bam. So now you'll see all 5 reviews in folders, and then there's my next button there outside of the folders. So it will always be there. Now I got to set an action for it so it can scroll through the reviews. So I'm going to select this next button. Over here on the right under click actions, I'm going to set the link type to canvas. I'm going to say what canvas? This canvas. And then it's going to say canvas view, and I'm going to say next. You can also specify if you want it to go to a specific view or not, but usually it's next and previous. So I have it set for this canvas, next. So I am going to publish this. Here's my reviews that we made. Here's the next button. So if I click it, it will go to the next ones and it will cycle back through. Now notice when I did that it kind of scrolled to the next review. So I'm going to show you how to turn that off. So if I hit next, it scrolls up. I don't always like that. I kind of like it to stay where it is sometimes. So I'm going to go back to the Showit. I have this button selected over here on the right where it says scroll to canvas. You just want to uncheck that. So I'm going to publish it. And now if I scroll through those reviews, it should just stay there. So now it doesn't scroll to the canvas because by default, Showit will want to move it to put it at the top of that canvas. And I don't like that. So I'm going to turn it off. So that's how you create canvas views and how you create a button to cycle through them. Canvas views also have properties themselves. So if I select one of these folders, let's say I'm going to select the Review 01 Canvas View folder. I'm going to go over here to the right. Right now I have a text layer selected actually, so I got to make sure that I have a folder selected. You can go to this Canvas View tab and there will be properties for it, which basically allows you to change the background. Okay, so you can set a different canvas background for each view. So I'm going to change the color. I'm going to say I want this color to actually be gray. So now if I'm going through these, you'll notice the canvas background on desktop at least is gray. But remember, for canvas backgrounds, you have to do it manually. So I actually have to go on the right over here to the mobile tab and change the background type to color and then select gray if I want it to be the same there. So you could make a different color, a different image background for each of these 5 canvas views. Another option, instead of creating a next button where people manually click through, is to just have the view folders go automatically. So if you go to view transitions over here on the right and hit auto advanced view, and remember you have to do it for both desktop and mobile, you'll see that there's a time. So every 3 seconds, a new canvas view will appear. So I'm going to publish that. And now instead of hitting this next button, I'm just going to wait. And there, every 3 seconds, a new one will come in. So sometimes you want that if you do have reviews, so that they're just you're not depending on someone to hit the next button, or they have the option to in this case too. So you can have both. Hey guys, thank you so much for visiting this week. I hope you will come back next week. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like this video. Be sure to drop your comments with recommended suggestions for other tutorials I can do. And it doesn't just have to be Showit. Thanks for coming.